Ralph Breaks the Internet is essentially the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, which came out back in 2012. So Ralph Breaks the Internet basically takes place 6 years after the events of the first Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph, who is once again voiced by John C. Reilly, and Vanellope, who is also once again voiced by Sarah Silverman, they're still best friends, and that's when a specific piece of Vanellope's game Sugar Rush breaks, and that's when Ralph and Vanellope decide to go to the internet to find the missing piece to Vanellope's game, and that's when mayhem and all sorts of craziness ensures. So here's my thoughts on the first Wreck-It Ralph. I honestly love the first Wreck-It Ralph. I think it's a great movie. It was one of my favorite movies of that year when it came out, 2012, and it was my favorite animated movie of that year, and it's even one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. To me, what made the first Wreck-It Ralph a great movie for me was, sure, it was unique and creative with its premise. It was like Toy Story and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but with video games. What made it a great movie for me was, like, it was a very heartfelt and touching movie. Like, it had a great message about being yourself, and it was a very, very heartfelt and very funny movie. And so, with that said, now that you know how I feel about the first Wreck-It Ralph, how do I feel about the sequel, Ralph Breaks the Internet? I might be in the minority for this, but I didn't think Ralph Breaks the Internet was that good at the first Wreck-It Ralph. But don't get me wrong, I still had a blast with Ralph Breaks the Internet. Like, I do think it's a very good movie, but when you compare it to the first Wreck-It Ralph, it's not as good. So let's talk about the things that I really liked from this movie, and there are a lot of things that I did like from it. The animation is phenomenal. And it is a Disney movie, and whenever Disney makes an animated movie, whether it's good or bad, the animation is still fantastic. The animators did a fantastic job creating the internet and its surroundings, because when you enter the internet, it's very cool, and the jokes in the internet part of it were very creative and hilarious. And just like with the first Wreck-It Ralph, the voice cast is pitch perfect. John C. Reilly once again voices Ralph, and Ralph is known as the big, lovable doofus, but with a big heart. His voice matches the character perfectly. And same with Vanellope, who, like I said, is once again voiced by Sarah Silverman. She's basically like the obnoxious, annoying brat, but with a big heart, and her voice matches the character perfectly. And there's this new character named Shank, who is voiced by Gal Gadot, who we all know as Wonder Woman, and she's a character in this racing game called Slaughter Race, which is basically Grand Theft Auto, but like more intense. And I actually really liked her character. When it comes to Gal Gadot for me, I find her kind of wooden and dull, and unpopular opinion, but I actually liked her in this movie more than I do with Wonder Woman. And this isn't a spoiler, so don't worry, because I think everyone knows about this, but my favorite scene in the movie for me was definitely the Disney princess scene. I remember when I saw the trailer and when it showed all these Disney properties, I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is stupid. It's basically Disney just trying to make fun of themselves. It's not going to be funny. It's just going to come off as stupid and annoying and just repetitive. But no, the way the movie portrayed it was brilliant, and it was a lot funnier and a lot better than I thought it would be. And the Disney princess scene does go on for a lot longer than you think it does, so that was really funny. And most of the Disney princess voice actresses do come back to voice the characters, and I thought that was really cool. So yeah, there are a lot of good elements in this movie, but let's talk about the cons, because I do have some problems with this movie. I'm going to start with the humor. Like I said, the humor for the most part was really funny and was cleverly written, and they do manage to have some really funny jokes associated with the internet, but the one thing that I think could have made the humor a lot better for me was it focused a bit too much on humor. Because with the first Wreck-It Ralph, yes, it had a ton of humor in it, but it didn't focus on it too much, because it at least calmed down and took itself seriously at some parts. but with Ralph Breaks the Internet, it felt like a Marvel movie. Like, the humor for the most part wasn't that bad and was really funny, but it focused a bit too much for me. And here's one thing that I think the movie should have focused a lot more on. It was Felix's subplot. We all know who Felix is in the Wreck-It Ralph universe. He's the main good guy in Ralph's video game, which is Fix-It Felix Jr. He has his own subplot going on, but the movie didn't focus on it that much. It focused on it for like literally this much, but then after that, it just went off. And then it just talked about it again at like near the ending. Like, I won't spoil what the subplot was, but I think it would have been really funny, and it would have been actually a lot touching if it focused more on it. But I can see why, because you didn't want to overstuff a lot of the subplots, because it would have been like a really messy movie. But despite having the word internet in its title, the movie isn't really about the internet. It's more about Ralph and Vanellope's friendship. And here's why I say that. The movie has a very deep and very emotional and very profound message. It's one that not a lot of kids' movies nowadays talk about. And I gotta give major props to this movie for having a very profound message in it. Even though I didn't think it was quite as good as the first Wreck-It Ralph, I still had fun with Ralph Breaks the Internet for what it was. It is a worthy sequel to the first Wreck-It Ralph, but if you're looking for a great follow-up like Godfather Part 2 or The Dark Knight or the Toy Story sequels, you won't get that here. I give Ralph Breaks the Internet a B+. So, what did you think of Ralph Breaks the Internet? And how would you compare it to the first Wreck-It Ralph? Do you think it was as good? Or do you think it was not quite as good? Whatever you thought of it, just leave a comment below. And if you want to see more of my videos, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.